When should you start your initial user outreach and how much of it should you do? This is a confusing question because when you're focusing on development and user outreach, it can be hard to balance the two. First things first, when should you start your initial user outreach? Well, the best answer is literally right now if you haven't already. There is no reason, absolutely no reason to push off your user outreach until a later date. You do not have to have any of your app built yet or any product whatsoever to start doing user outreach. Do it now and just get people's email addresses. That way, once you do have an app, you can actually have a pool of prospective users that you can tap into and bring on board immediately. So there is absolutely no reason to hold off on doing that. And the sooner you start, the better off you're going to be. Because remember this, it's your users who will be paying you. So do not put that off. That said, if you are focusing on the development of your app at the same time as doing that user outreach, then your workload can become pretty heavy. So how much user outreach should you actually be doing? Well, the first thing you need to decide is the number of users you want to aim to have on board for that first launch that you go through. So this is going to depend on the type of app that you're building. If you are building a more generalized app that has a lower price point and is going to be dependent on a higher volume of users to be a worthwhile investment for you, well, then you're going to want to aim for a higher number of users to bring on board for your very first launch. On the flip side, if you're building a more specific niche app that has a higher price point and is dependent on a lower volume of users, well, you're not going to need quite as many. But you need to figure out an actual goal number for yourself, because once you do that, then you can pretty simply just work backwards to figure out how many touch points you need to be doing throughout the development of your app to end up with a prospective user pool that is large enough for your launch. Now, it is really important that you still start your user outreach as early as possible. Remember, you don't have to have your app ready in order to do this. You really just need to collect email addresses for now. But the earlier you start, the more information you can gain to help you plan out the number of touch points you need to make in order to hit your user number goal. So let's say it's your goal to launch with 40 users signed up to be your test users. And the way in which you're going to approach these users, your outreach method is going to be email. You're going to be emailing your existing contacts to try to get them to sign up to be those first users for you. Okay, let's just say hypothetically that that is your goal. Well, the earlier you start your outreach, in other words, the earlier you start sending those emails, the sooner you're going to be able to learn how many emails you need to send in order to convert one person into signing up to be one of your early access users. If you need to send 5 emails in order to convert one person, well, then you need to be making 5 touch points, right? Emails being touch points, but those can be anything. They can be social media posts, they can be phone calls, whatever is appropriate for you. But if you need to make 5 for every one person you get to sign up, and you want 40 people to sign up, well, then you can just schedule in time to do each of those touch points in order to hit that goal number for your early access users. Okay, so it's all about setting the goal and then starting your user outreach early to get the data you need to schedule in those touch points.